Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1444, written by Neratyr. Wi-Fi network, ghost.net. I'm many varieties of engineer, electrical engineer, specializing in radiology and wireless signals, and all of the IT and computer and network engineers and architects. I've even built wireless, cellular networks. I have built segments of the internet. I've built devices that run these systems, and more. One time, I set up a new personal phone, and instantly received new texts from various friends that died semi-recently. I didn't know the times well enough to tell you that year, or in the last 18 months or whatever. They also all certainly died at different times, months apart each. The messages were all generic greetings. Hey, hi, what's up man, etc. All the messages came at once, and not one was from anyone currently alive. I have always presumed it was something to do with idle accounts or phones or something, and my firing up and connecting a new device resulted in some stuck-in ghost messages bouncing around in some queues to get released. The messages I received were not the most recent they had sent to me, nor were they in the most recent chats even. Problem is, I intimately know systems like that very well, having specialized in many of them. This is not how the SMS/MMS system works. Messages are not held that long in a glitch state, and if something busted, then it would have affected the whole pipeline of communication to my device, therefore should include recent communications, aka from living people too. My first instinct was great, I'm tripping balls, I don't believe this. Showed it to other people for my own sanity, then proceeded to never think about it much until now, after my initial deep dive into trying to explain it. Anyway, that's all I got. Must be a ghost in the shell glitch, but was more than enough to get me all deep, contemplating life for a bit. I guess I'll find out what's up when it's my turn to get hit by the bus. Case file 1444. Wi-Fi network, ghost.net. Indeed, there are network glitches even with cellular systems and towers. Lots of buffering going on as part of how the system naturally works. But it's impossible for there to be a tech glitch, purely as part of technology, that only sends you repeated messages from friends who had died, and only friends who had died, no one else. That's impossible. That is literally targeted. By the way, your life sounds so tragic. I wonder how it came to be that so many of your friends passed away so early. By how you describe it, we're talking about 3 or more. Very sorry for your losses. Case file number 1445, written by SlayerOfDungeons. My phone played hide and seek with me. I'm at a loss to explain this one. Just this morning, as I was riding in a friend's van to work, I dropped my phone to the floor. It's very important that I tell you that I watched it fall to the floor of the van and slide under the seat I was in. I quickly reached down to where I saw it fall and looked around for it, but I couldn't find it. The person sitting next to me said they'd call it, but when they tried, it went straight to voicemail without ringing. At this point, I'm pretty upset. Not only did I lose it, but without the ability to hear it ring, I had no hope of finding it. When we reached our destination, all 4 of us searched the van floor for it, and we all came up empty-handed. Not wanting to give up, I told my friend to try and call it again, knowing it would be hopeless, but what else could I do? To everyone's shock, we all heard the ringtone coming from where I was sitting. I followed the tone to the seat and then to a small compartment on the driver's side wall of the van. So a few things don't make sense to me. The first being that I watched with my eyes the phone fall to the floor and slide under the seat. The next thing being that when someone called it the first time, it just went straight to voicemail. So I'm not sure what happened between falling under the seat and magically teleporting into a compartment, but it seems like it didn't have service for a while wherever it went. Or whatever theory you could come up with, I don't know. Let me just rule out this being a prank as well. So it's just me and the other person in the back of the van. We're sitting in the very back. There was no one behind us and the phone slid backwards, which would be back where there was no one to quickly grab the phone and pocket it or whatever. I don't believe anyone could have grabbed it to play a prank like that at all. Case file 1445. My phone played hide and seek with me. Okay, so you absolutely were pranked, but merely by an entity or simulation dungeon master, not a human being. I don't know if any of you have ever played D&D, or even just role-playing games, where effectively the idea is you set up a scenario where people try to navigate through it, and there's obstacles and random events and such, and of course, Some dungeon masters are rather mischievous and lead you to places where there's nothing there, or you have to invest a lot and you don't get anything from it. Like a locked door with nothing behind it. Stuff like that. Anyways, the idea of being a dungeon master is very thrilling in its own right, but imagine it was a dungeon master for a game as complex and realistic as life, and people don't even know that it's a simulation or a game. You could have a lot of fun with people trapped in that simulation, trapped in that game. Bonus file, written by That Bearded Guy 94. Ghostly visitor knows secrets and then vanishes. Sitting on my parents' porch as a kid, they lived on the second floor. Guy's walking on the sidewalk and yells at me and my friend who was hanging out with me. Just say hello, tell us how nice of a day it is out. Then proceeds to inform us that in the house next door to me, someone died in that attic. We acted surprised and just let him say his piece. We looked at each other for a second, and when we looked back, 2 seconds later, he was gone. Nowhere to be seen, and we had a pretty good view of the whole street. The reason I said we acted surprised to hear someone died in the house is because we already knew someone died in that house, because my friend's grandpa owned it. When we told his grandpa about the guy that talked to us, it turns out he fit the description of the guy who died in the house. Similar thing happened to the two of us when we were chilling in a baseball field throwing some balls. Old guy, different guy, walked in the field to tell us about God, and how God presents himself in many ways. I'm not a religious guy whatsoever, but my friend is. He was actually pretty engaged in the conversation. When the guy was done talking, he said "see ya," and when me and my friend looked at each other to say how weird that guy was, the guy disappeared 2 seconds later. My friend believes that it was God talking to him. Maybe it was, and I hope he keeps that memory like that. Both times freaked me out though. Never had any more events like that happen, probably because we told each other if something like that ever happens again, we weren't going to take our eyes off the person. Caissons for the bonus file. Ghostly visitor knows secrets and then vanishes. God is an interesting concept to me. If God exists, or rather more likely, how does he exist? Even if we're in a simulation that's just one layer higher, so who's to say where the ultimate end is? And that probably does involve a God of some kind, a creator of some kind, that is more than just a simulation computer process or rendering. That is very interesting to ponder on, but it is really unknowable for me. And that is one concept that I struggle with a lot, where a lot of people will say that you choose not to accept God or something like that. But really, for people like me, it's not a choice of accepting or not accepting, it's simply unknowing. There's a lot, it's like the same things that I ponder on in all these stories that we read. There's very interesting hypotheses and things that I believe pretty strongly in, like DOP is so common and it happens so frequently that I can say with high certainty that it's probably true. But ultimately, I don't know. Maybe it's something else that no one has thought about, or at least I haven't. I prefer to say, I don't know, but still speculate. But ultimately, I really don't know. I think that is the beginning of wisdom, is to be able to say and admit to yourself that you don't know. Now time for the poem of the day. Beneath the silver moonlit sky, where dreams and wishes softly lie, a tale unfolds in whispers sweet, a poetic dance, a rhythmic feat. In meadows bathed in golden light, where shadows dance in gentle night, the flowers bloom, their colors blend, a symphony of nature without end. Through forests deep and oceans wide, where secrets in the waves reside, each leaf that falls, each breeze that sighs, a canvas painted 'neath the skies. On wings of hope, in flight we soar, to realms unknown forevermore. The journey weaves through time and space, a tapestry of love and grace. So let the verses gently flow, like streams that to the rivers go. In poetry, a world unfolds, where tales are told and hearts are held. May this rhyming verse convey a glimpse of magic in your day, for in each word a spark ignites, a symphony of shared delights. Shared delights and connections. I love it. It is just so beautiful, isn't it? Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.